welcome everyone. This is a new initiative that we have started. This is a regional AWS ambassador collaboration. My name is Nestor. I am working at AWS for almost 7 years. And for the past 3 years, I've been the North America AWS ambassador owner based out of New York City. The title of today's series is Future Challenges and Opportunities in Data Analytics and Generative AI. I would like to introduce our moderators, Todd and Ruslan. Please feel free and introduce yourself.
My name is Todd Bernson. I'm the CTO at BSC Analytics, and I'm based out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
And my name is Ruslan Kusov. I'm Cloud CE Director at SoftServe, based off Boston, Massachusetts.
Thank you. And also, I want to introduce our guest speakers, Lee and Nataliya. Please go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm Lee Hylton. I am the Chief Information Officer and one of the co-founders here at BSC Analytics. So pleasure to meet you all, and look forward to our discussion today. And I am based outside of Greensboro, North Carolina.
And I'm Nataliya. I'm artificial intelligence and data science expert at SoftServe, where generative AI has become a significant priority for us and our clients. And I'm based out of Austin, Texas.
Awesome. Thank you. I hope that you enjoy the discussion. And over to you, Ruslan.
Yeah, thanks, Nestor. So a question to our speakers. So we're here because of the questions that we have, not just us, but community people have. So nowadays, there is a hype, for sure. There is a hype on Gen AI. Different companies, they are trying to compete to each other. They are trying to innovate faster using Gen AI. Gen AI is everywhere. Gen AI for the business cases, Gen AI for accelerated application development, for all this stuff. So really like a hype. However, despite the fact that companies, they are researching Gen AI opportunities, researching Gen AI business cases, we see that most of them, 95% of the companies approximately, they have just a review of these cases and POC at max, and they are not going to production. And only 5, but recent updates, up to 20% of the customers, they are moving somehow to production. So why do you think it happens? So what's the main reason why companies, they are not ready to move to the production with Gen AI? Lee, don't you mind to share your opinion?
Yeah, okay. So I think that you're 100% correct, Ruslan, that there's a huge hype bubble around Gen AI. At the same time, it's still a nascent technology. It's very new. No one knows exactly what the capabilities are. And so, yeah, a bunch of people are kind of jumping in with both feet, running these POCs, seeing what works, what doesn't work. And while Gen AI is very powerful in some use cases, in some other use cases, it might not be the correct tool. So what I think we're seeing like this huge influx of POCs. And I think that with a significant percentage, maybe they're trying to use Gen AI in a way that where another tool might be better. And they're making these discoveries. Now, for the 5% or so, as you said, that do make it to production, it's a wonderful tool. It's very powerful, very capable. But I think it's that you kind of have to nail down what it's good at, as opposed to maybe where there's a different tool that might serve you better for a specific application.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Thank you, Lee. Nataliya, I believe we see this for our customers. So we're working for the same company and see that for our customers. What do you think about that? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I would agree with everything what was just said. And definitely a lot of people just would like to use Gen AI just because it's Gen AI for its own sake. But at the same time, there might be more suitable approach like traditional AI/ML or even just rule-based systems. And also some other challenges that we see regarding moving those POCs to production is actually that implementation of those POCs has become much easier with the availability of powerful foundation models and the promotion of user-friendly APIs that require some minimal customization. And one of the biggest mistakes made by new AI adopters is assuming that the ease of creating a minimal POC will directly translate into ease in scaling this to the production-grade environment. And this misconception often results in failed attempts to handle the complexity of real-world scenarios, because solutions that seem to effectively that seem to be effective in controlled POC environments still might struggle to process newer and more complex, for instance, type of data or a number of users, etc. And as well as adding to those challenges, businesses are still hesitated to deploy GenAI tools because of the risks and concerns of hallucinations. This is where the AI generates some false or misleading results. And we see actually the good progress in this field, while the latest models that are available in Bedrock or even some open models that we can deploy using SageMaker have found significant improvements, but the risk is still there, and we just need a proper strategy to mitigate those, to have this deployed in the production-ready environment so that we can show this to the external audience.
Yeah, that's makes sense, and I believe, yeah, you're right that we see the progress, and probably, yeah, as an outcome of this progress of like model improvements and so on, we'll see more and more cases, successful use cases in production. So, thank you.
Well, thanks, guys. Your expertise on that shows through, and I appreciate your answers there. One of the things that we do at BSc Analytics alongside of data analytics, machine learning, AI, is we work a lot with people on application modernization. And so I wanted to talk about how application modernization can accelerate GenAI adoption, and why are organizations willing to experiment with GenAI in your experience? Why are they willing to experiment with GenAI, but they have a fear of modernization? Nataliya.
So indeed, large language model, like which might be available in Bedrock, is a key ingredient in GenAI solution, but at the same time, it is just part of the bigger environment of the application. And outdated applications, they often fail to meet the demands of modern computing environments and resources we need for those GenAI models, etc. And they come with some reduced scalability, limited security, delayed time to market. So for instance, many organizations, they have still legacy systems that are not just designed to work with those modern AI application, and modernizing those systems, whether by refactoring, re-architecting, replacing some outdated components, can help us to smoothly integrate with those GenAI tools. So for instance, it often involves some microservices architecture where applications are broken down into smaller independent services, and this can provide us some flexibility and ease of integrating those GenAI components, as well as the data management, because modernized applications, they often come with enhanced data management capabilities. And we know that data is a lifeblood of our GenAI application, and we can guarantee the reliability only if we have the data governance, security, and accessibility. One other obvious component is scalability and performance, because this is also something that should be improved for the legacy systems. And in terms of why we prioritize just the POCs and GenAI use cases, not the modernization, like probably my best guess would be that many organizations, they have established some ways of working that are deeply embedded in the existing culture. And modernizing this application might require some shifts, not just in technologies, but also in the mindset. And there might be just some cultural resistance. And besides that, many companies or enterprises, they see the quick value when they are implementing GenAI POC, because you have done something and you already have some tangible result in the very end. You can showcase it to your board and saying, hey, look, this is a chatbot and it already works. And at the same time, application modernization is the investment that should be made, but for some people, it is just less obvious that this is something that should be done prior. You can build better generative AI, not only in terms of the POC.
This is a great answer. And in my experience, one of the things that indicates success the best when it comes to application modernization is that culture shift that you were talking about that can sometimes be a little bit challenging. Lee, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of tack on to what you said, Nataliya, that there is that cultural resistance sometimes. And it's along with just they're trying to keep the lights on, right? They're running their day-to-day operations, and we're trying to get them to adopt a more cloud-native, modularized approach. It's not always well understood. And then the results of that are not maybe as new and shiny as a brand new Gen AI application, where in fact, doing that modernization of your application stack can help you roll out your Gen AI in a repeatable fashion, help you do it faster, better, and while ensuring that your security controls are in place, et cetera, et cetera. So addressing that need to modernize for cloud native operations goes hand in hand. It's all connected with getting Gen AI up and working in your environment. But there is sometimes that resistance at BSC Analytics. We see it from time to time inside organizations, or even a specific department inside an organization may be resistant. But once you help them see the light and see why modernization is a great idea and what that gives them, you can often make a convert. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good discussion so far. And next question that I have, that's a question about some particular examples. So people, customers nowadays, they want to see some sort of like repeatable solution, because if it's chatbot, yes, so for sure that's not the first case for the partners when they build chatbots. So they did that for someone else previously, and it makes sense to replicate the success and use some sort of like patterns, templates, and so on to accelerate development, accelerate integration. Currently, we have three main pillars that hold generative AI solutions. So we already discussed data pillar, data component, and importance of data, modern application development, how it helps, application modernization, and so on. Security, and something that we missed so far, but that's important, considering that for Gen AI solutions, we have a bit different security threats comparing to what we have the classic application development and for other things. For example, data injection, and with this data injection, you can spoil your data and get irrelevant results as an outcome. But let's get back to this conversation of pillars and repeatable solutions. So could you please share some examples how we can connect all these three pillars and build some sort of repeatable solutions, for example, with chatbot or any other repeatable solution? So Lee.
Okay, so first pillar, data and monetization and having clean data to start with. That's the pillar for your Gen AI application. You have to have good data. And to that end, AWS S3 and the Bedrock Knowledge Base are primary data storage solutions for a Gen AI application. It helps you, along with good processes, to store this data in a clean format. Your data is sanitized, normalized, ready to be picked up on and contextualized for your Gen AI front end. And that just kind of helps your chatbot. You're putting guardrails and sensible mapping out for your chatbot by having that data clean to start with. Security, you mentioned security, and there's a wealth of tools on AWS around security. But you have your certificate manager for SSL, TLS connections to your application. Obviously, you have identity and access management, IAM, that at a very granular level, allows you to control access to your various systems. There's ECR, EKS, which helps you manage secure container deployments. And then technologies like the network load balancer, coupled with your public and private subnets and your VPCs. And then AWS helps you separate traffic and make sure that you're making your resources available in a secure fashion. And it's also scalable, as everything on AWS can scale to almost infinite capacity. And then the third pillar, that modern application development we talked about kind of in the last bullet points, it helps you with your entire cloud environment, specifically with your Gen AI rollouts. Some of those kind of sub-pillars under modern application development are your application ingress and egress using Argo CD to manage your incoming traffic. Your front end and back end services that handle the user interface and the core logic for your application. And then also using Argo CD for continuous deployment. So we're always ensuring our chatbot application is up to date, the latest security features, and patches. So that's three of the main pillars for modern application development, specifically around Gen AI, as I see it.
Yeah, thanks, Lee. And you're actually perfectly connected these pillars with some examples of Amazon Web Services that can be used and so on. So really, I think that's with this answer, customers, they finally can be confident that yes. So there are some blueprints, repeatable solutions that can be used to connect these key pillars together and not reinvent the wheel each time again and again and again, but reuse the best practices, follow these best practices, and achieve results faster and cheaper, let's say, which is important as well. So not just time, but also cost of that. Nataliya, do you have anything else to add to this?
Yeah, we have actually similar insights that the most effective implementations of GenAI we have with the companies that have established their data governance framework. And at the same time, we also see the patterns that a lot of different enterprises, they often use the same data for multiple GenAI use cases. And there is definitely no need to reinvent the wheel, but we can have data pipelines established, for instance, for the most common storage solution, like using our Bedrock knowledge bases. And if we have the data pipelines that can guarantee us the data quality plus data classification so that we can identify what data contains any sensitive information, such as PHI, PII, and determining what data can be safely shared, it can accelerate the development, reduce time to market. As well as for security, we also have probably two main areas. The first one is application security itself, all of these things that we mentioned, like IAM, as well as some traditional security measures. Plus, we also have the data security, that ensuring that your large language model doesn't expose any sensitive information. So Ruslan previously mentioned prompt injection, training data poisoning, etc. So these are the risks that are also, as GenAI evolves, they are also being unfortunately actively developing, but there are some measures that we can take to make us safe. So while data loss protection, like guardrails, are essential for the LLM, and when we are working with this in production, those are definitely the components that we would like to implement. But at the same time, also the research shows that those systems sometimes can be broken, and therefore the question that probably we always asked us in the first place, what this sensitive data is even doing in the context of your LLM, or why your large language model was fine-tuned on this sensitive data. So actually, therefore, we can say that security and data are two components that heavily intersect. If we have the appropriate data frameworks that help us to identify those PII, PHI, remove sensitive information, then we are also safer when we are working with large language models. And for modern application development, we also have some common patterns. For instance, with a chatbot, we usually use like backend as a microservice that is actually similar for many chatbots we've been implementing, as well as we use a boilerplate templates for some front-end application, as well as CI/CD and for sure AWS cloud native services to guarantee scalability.
Yeah, that sounds good. And actually, you touched this point about data components, yeah, and about the standardization, about like following the processes, understanding where you have sensitive data, and that resonates with the things that I heard like a couple of weeks ago during the New York summit from the keynote sessions that surprisingly, majority of successful cases for production implementation, they are from regulated verticals like healthcare, financial services. Why it happens? Just because they already have this data frameworks. They already know what data they have, how to use this data properly, how to secure it, how to control private information, and do not use this private information, private data. So you're right. So that makes perfect sense. And again, we're talking about this repeatability. Yeah. So you establish this framework, you establish how you operate with data. So this data platform, the same framework for the security, same for the application development. And when you have repeatability for all these components, you can get the success and use the GenAI in production. So yeah, thank you for this answer.
All right, guys. I cannot agree more that indeed is what we are seeing also in the market. Thank you, guys. This was a fantastic conversation. Of course, we could spend days on it, but we gotta wrap it up. So let me try to summarize or sum up a little bit what I see. The key takeaways that while there is a huge hype and excitement around generative AI, you mentioned, and it's right, that the adoption rate from POC to production is still pretty low. You mentioned 5%. This is mainly due to several aspects, guys, that you mentioned, and I want to highlight a few of them. Okay, so such as data readiness, that is data quality, regulatory stuff, risk management, ethical considerations, and you introduce one really good point. That is that having a solid application modernization methodology framework, as you mentioned, Ruslan, or a process established in your company can help streamline processes, improve data management, improve scalability, and also all these things are crucial, I would say, to leverage the full potential of generative AI. The good thing is that we see how partners like SoftServe and Blue Centric Cloud, also having experience AWS ambassadors like you guys can help organizations to unlock those specific problems or challenges. They can figure it out with your guidance based on your experience in previous customers. That you can build the generative AI applications, and that can be easily replicated following the same frameworks that you mentioned before across different business scenarios. All right, before we drop, please, to the audience, let us know in the comments if there is any additional business topic that you are interested in learning more about, or any feedback to improve in the next sessions, because this is an experimentation and we are gonna do more sessions like this one if you like it. So thank you very much. Thank you to the moderators, speakers, and see you soon.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Wow.